Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back for the first time this autumn to the Mock Sports presents the Quaddie Poddy. Nicko, Cashy, we're here. We're ready to go. We're ready to tackle a massive autumn, mate. How are you? How you been?
Yeah, good, man. Not too bad. Sorry, just change these lights to make them the same. Yeah, good, man. Doing well. We're back. We had a double stream on Saturday, which kickstarted us. So if you want to see, we're going to do a couple more of them in the next couple of months, over the next every couple of weeks. So we're on Dabble, which we talk about a lot, but no, it's good to be back. Good to be here in front of you guys. And there was a lot of people waiting on our other one before Cashy just put his face up.
Yeah, if you were waiting, I apologize. You would have just seen me staring at the screen. Unfortunately, I'm not as technologically as savvy as Nick, hence why he is the podcast producer and I'm just the social media man. I'm going to let him stick to his job for the rest of the autumn, so that doesn't occur again. But we're here. We're ready to go. We've got people in the live stream. As per usual, we'll be talking mostly amongst ourselves unless they throw a real hot question in the chat, because we've also got plenty of listener questions that have been sent in via social media to get to as well. I guess, mate, let's just get straight into it. Thoughts on the racing in the last month or so, and thoughts on the racing going ahead in the next month now that the good horses are back in town?
Yeah, it's been pretty dry lately. I know we've been sticking away from it mostly. I think we had a little, we'll have our best bets, obviously, but most of the time we're staying away from it. Back on the winning streak with the NBA, which is good.
Yes.
Getting some money back in our account. But
100%.
Yeah, it's going to be good racing in the next couple of weeks, over the next couple of months, really. So it's exciting this week. It's not great, but it's still getting there. But in the next 2 or 3 weeks, you can see some really good horses starting to prep up, and a lot of 2-year-olds running around as well. So see how they're going.
Yeah, on that, the 2-year-olds. Have you found anything that's screaming golden slipper yet, apart from Worderton?
No, not really. I think I feel like the hype's not even there this year for us even. I know
they're just so average. I went to the trials and I couldn't split them in a bad way. We've been to the trials before and found it very hard to split them in a good way because they're all just so good. They were just all so average in that first trial run. And then there have been a couple that have, run the lights out at their trials since then, gone to the races, haven't really lived up to that hype apart from Worderton. He's the only one that seems like he's a bit of a world beater. But is he beating much? No, not really. Is he going to just go on and dominate them all, or is he just going to end up this year's Stormboy? It could go really either way because they're very average on paper.
Yeah, 100%. No, yeah, I don't know. It's the hype's definitely not there this year. I won't be, because the way it works out is our footy season always interrupts with the slipper day, and I always tend to miss it. But this year I'm not too upset about missing it, really. There's not really much that I'm want to get down there and really watch. So
honestly, the better races on the day will be the ones that are around it, unless some stars start to jump off the page in the next few weeks when we start to get through these group races that are brought in for the 2-year-olds. The English Millennium we'll touch on later. It is shaping up to be one of the more low-key slippers of the last few years, especially since we've started doing it. A lot of the slippers have ended up being quite hotly contested, and they've been 2 to 5 really, really good chances. Apart from last year, obviously, it was supposed to be a 2-horse race that ended up anything but. But yeah, I just think there's one horse that I'll talk about in a few minutes that I'm quite keen on in the future. I'm not keen on it for the slipper. Could come out and win the slip now that I've said that, but I'm definitely keen for the size, the champagne. I'll talk about it in a minute. But yeah, it's Worderton or bust at the moment. And honestly, I'm not sold purely because of what happened with Stormboy last year. Anything can happen with these 2-year-olds, and I would be very, very careful jumping in to the futures market for this race, because literally Worderton could come out next start and fall flat on his face, or he could go through and just smash them all, end up a 5-time Group 1 winner, and then head off to start. It's literally chalk and cheese with these 2-year-olds. You just can't split them for a very bad reason.
Yeah, it's definitely not one that we're looking forward to, but we'll get into that a bit later as well. Another thing as well, Cashy's wearing it. We're selling hats now.
Of course, selling hats. The store will be up for the next few days. If you're listening to this right now, before the races have, started on the Saturday, get on the mocksports.com.au, get yourself a hat. $35 plus shipping. It won't break your bank. You can rep it at the races, at the pub, at the footy, wherever you want. Nice and cheap to help keep the lights on here at the Mock Sports HQ. We're closing it on Monday afternoon. So if you're listening to this a week late, I don't know why you would be. It's too late. But if you're listening to this right now in gearing up for the CF4 Stakes, you can still head to our website. The link will be in the show description, and you can get yours now. I like it. It's very comfy, Nick.
Yeah, I'm wearing one of the prototypes that just fit. I couldn't find the other one, I'll be honest.
The Trucker Cup prototype. We're looking at maybe doing a run of Trucker Cups later in the year.
Yeah, this one's all right. So if you get that one.
The dad hat?
Yeah, that one's nice. So, but yeah, if you're interested in that, we've got that as well. So yeah, it's pretty good.
Yeah, if you buy a lot of it, we'll be able to do more runs of it in the future, as well as other merch pieces like the Trucker Caps. So if you think you like what Nick's wearing and you want to get one, maybe support us and buy this one first, because that one probably might never get made unless we see some purchases, because, Mock HQ, the lights could get turned off because the bills will get too heavy. But we've talked about stuff that we aren't looking forward to. Let's talk about stuff we are looking forward to, mate. First off, who is going to be your horse of the autumn? Who's the horse that's going to be in all the headlines come the end of autumn?
Yeah, it's a tough one. I think it kind of depends if obviously V Sustino runs around, won't do too bad. I think Chow Wolf for me is going to be horse of the autumn. I think he's going to be well suited to a lot of races in autumn. I think had a brilliant spring. It came out of nowhere, and I think this autumn will be one that'll just replicate. So it's going to be me, horse of the autumn.
Look, he's looking absolutely phenomenal in every piece of work he does, every piece of track work, every piece of trial work. He is just looking like the next big thing. But, as long as Via Sestina is still at her peak, is he going to be able to beat her? Well, we're going to find out next week. They're going head-to-head for the first time in the Apollo Stakes. I think it's going to be even better than the Pride of Jenny and Mr. Brightside showdowns of the spring. I think this could be a bit of a running rivalry that could feed generations, mate, feed families for the next year and a half. I think it's going to be very much so like the old Nature Strip versus Eduardo type rivalry. These two horses, Cheer Wolf, proven itself against quite a few of our A-graders, hasn't proven itself yet against our best horse, which is Via Sestina. Don't even question that. She is our best horse. Look at what she did in the Cox Plate. So it's our very best going against who could be the best. So I think they're going to go toe-to-toe almost the entire autumn, and then they'll probably go toe-to-toe the entire spring, because Joe Pride wants to see Cheer Wolf in the Cox Plate. We know that Via Sestina is going to be there. So I think we've got a year of fireworks ahead with those two horses. It's really exciting. My horse of the autumn, I'll go back to her. She's my girl. I'm not betting the hair this time, because it's silly at this point, because I know the hair is going to be staying on. It's Fangirl. And the reason I say that is because the spring, she was, she dampened. She was my number one horse in the country going in the spring. She's now number 10 for me. I think she'll be back up in the top 5 by the end of the autumn. And that's because she is looking like she's ready and raring to go. All of her track work, all of her trials, she's been jumping out of her skin. She's been under a hard hold. The only way she is going to have a successful autumn, though, is if Chris Waller avoids Via Sestina at all costs. And from what we've heard, maybe the first and second runs of the prep, they'll clash, but then after that, they'll probably split up. So I think look for Fangirl in that late autumn when she's really starting to peak. I think she's going to win 1, 2, maybe even 3 big races. And I think she'll go very close to even beating Via Sestina like she did first up in the spring. I don't think she will, but don't be surprised if they end up nostril to nostril coming to the line in one of those first 2 runs, like we saw in the spring when Zugotcha split those 2. Flop of the autumn, mate. Some of our flops calls in the past have been very successful. Others not so much. When we said Pride of Jenny was going to be a flop and she ended up being the biggest thing in racing. Who's your flop of the autumn?
I'm going Fangirl. For the exact reasons you said, she's going to be the horse. I reckon she's just going to run into one better every time, and second places aren't going to get you good. You got to win races to be a good horse. So I understand it's a bit different, but I don't think Fangirl, if comes against the right competition, could go winless because Via Sestina's there or better horses, Chow Wolf, who knows.
Mr. Brightside, another one.
It's just most unlucky horse in history. I reckon is Fangirl's up there, starting behind Animo, now Via Sustina.
She got 1 year of clean air to do damage, which she did, and then now better horses have come along again to block her off.
I just think she's always second crop. She's up there. She is up there, but she's going to be the flop because she's just going to fall second best to most horses coming through autumn.
Look, I obviously think she's going to be the horse of the autumn, but I do think it is a very fine line that she's going to toe for that reason. Like I said,
early autumn, second all prep.
Yeah, early autumn, I'm going to probably avoid her, but late autumn, I'll be all over her. And you're right, she could fall under that category of just coming second or third every single time. I'm confident she'll get a win late autumn, but we'll just have to wait and see. My flop of the autumn is going to be Buckaroo. Okay, no confirmation whether or not he's even going to be seen this autumn. Maybe they're going to keep him kept away just for the spring. But you see these horses that go through really good spring preps, and then all of a sudden, come autumn time, everyone's jumping on them, and they just think that it's going to be sustained. Obviously, Chris Waller was able to bring this guy into a new career patch of form during the spring after the gelding. But I just think after such a successful spring and where the expectations are of him now, I think he just won't be able to replicate that. He might win a race or two, might be a big race or two as well. But considering where he was at, and he was Melbourne Cup favourite, and he won a lot of good races, I just think he'll maybe lose a couple where he'll be quite a short favourite, or he'll be very favoured in the market. And I think he won't have as many fans come the end of autumn as he did at the end of spring, because he was a big punter's favourite by the end there. Couple got burnt there in the Melbourne Cup. And I think maybe they're going to get burnt this autumn as well. Massive Solcombe vibes here.
Yeah.
Massive Solcombe vibes. Same trainer, same silks. But again, might not even see Buckaroo this autumn. But if he does run, I think he might not live up to the spring. Horse that's going to win a Group 1, mate.
I've got two, actually. I've gone Private Harry.
Shout out Corinda.
Yeah. Magic Millions, Sunlight Plate. Really nicely. If it suits up really well, it's 4 from 4. And then Stapati. Racing really well
He loves to party.
Loves to party. Racing really well in spring. Came what? Let's have a look. Second in the Ingham, which is a Group 2, and then obviously third in the Sir Rupert Clarke. So very, very close to that second place in the Ingham as well. I thought I had it. I remember I had some money on it, and it was a nose, 0.2 of a length. So those two, I reckon, will step up really nicely. So if there's that market, which I think a couple of bookies definitely have to win a Group 1, some of them might be paying all right. So it might be worth having a look. But, yeah, for me.
This is the horse that I was hinting to earlier as the 2-year-old. The last few years, I've actually been very obsessed with finding good value and the winners in the Champagne and the Sires, the two-year-old Group 1s in the Triple Crown after the Golden Sipper, where the horses that are run-on types get their chance. Obviously, Manal last year made a lot of money for us. We were saying for months, get on Manal for those races, don't get on her for the Slipper. The year before that, I was saying it about Empire of Japan. That didn't really work out as much as I thought it would, but we definitely cashed in with Manal, and I'm looking to cash in with United States here. That debut was phenomenal. Just got to the outside and just flashed home like an absolute rocket. I know that I'm not providing any spoilers here. If you have a pair of eyes, you know that this is a good horse with an engine under the hood. Do I think he's sharp enough for Golden Slipper? Maybe not. That's remaining to be seen. But from what we've seen in all of the trials, all of the track work, and that run to date, he's my early tip for the Champagne and the Sires. I think out to 1,400, out to 1,600, get him there, watch him fly. United States, get on for those races, in my opinion. And race you are most looking forward to, mate?
Either probably the Doncaster Mile or TJ Smith, I think. Those two are pretty entertaining races, and they're coming up in like the end of the autumn. It's usually near the end where a lot of horses will be peaking for, so should be nice.
I'm most looking forward to a race in a few weeks' time. That's the Very Elegant Stakes, and the reason being that will probably be the first and last, or the second and last time that we'll see Fangirl versus Via Sustina. Chairwolf's also meant to be in the mix. Those three going head to head to head. Very, very exciting over the Randwick course. And then you'll have quite a lot of, the B graders being thrown in there as well. I could list off a number of them, but the field will be absolutely stacked for an early autumn race, and it'll really give us our first sort of look how they all measure up to each other getting into the later spring. Who's going to go to the Doncaster? Who's going to go to the All-Star Mile? Who's going to go to the Queen Elizabeth? And a lot of them will probably end up in the Queen Elizabeth stretched out to 2,000 metres, and that'll be even more entertaining as it always is. But I'm very keen for a few weeks' time. Very Elegant Stakes will be an absolute barn burner. But, mate, enough catching up. Should we get into the listener questions on the hotline?
Start for the hotline. Should be nice. Who knows what this could be? Could be anything.
Yes, the mock hotline, of course. If you want to call us for anything, you can ask a question. You can even brag about a bet that you've won. Just let us know. Call us. The link is in the show description. We got Johnny Snitzel kicking off the 2025 hotline.
Ni hao, Osmosis, and McDonald's boy. I have an early tip for you chumps. Race 1, number 1 at Doomben. It's not because I own it or anything, but it's a good horse. Back it until you die, boys.
All right. Gonna have to get on now. What's it called?
I'll have to have a look. Didn't even give it a name or anything. Let's go Saturday, Doomden, race 1, number 1. Better luck next time. $3.80.
All right.
Not the worst. Not the worst. It's third up, 2 wins. Coming up first up here. Third start, sorry. Yeah, it's probably not a bad tip.
All right, Johnny Snitzel, if your horse wins, I know you'll have plenty of pocket cash. Get a hat, mate. Get a hat, and you can tell people where you were able to have the early crow for your better luck next time horse. We got Paddy Kerwin as well.
G'day, boys. Paddy Kerwin here. Just a quick one. Craig Williams' age. Getting to him or not? Cheers, guys. Paddy Kerwin out.
Thank you, Paddy. Craig Williams' age. Is it getting to him, mate? Is he getting too old, Craig Williams?
I can't say what I really want to say. He looks older than he is. So that's for sure. He probably, I don't know. Probably not. Let's see how he goes in this autumn. He's been up there with some good horses. Brightside obviously getting a couple of wins. I don't think he's out of it just yet. Let's see how he goes in the big ones.
Yeah, he comes under so much flack because he stuffs up sometimes, just like any jockey does. It's just happened a lot to him in the last 18 months. But he always reminds us of his class the very next meeting. He'll have 2 or 3 wins, and then he'll win another 4+ Group 1s throughout the carnival. Like, Craig Williams knows what he's doing. He's classy. He can retire whenever he wants. Okay, I don't think his age is getting to him. So that concludes the hotline. Just 2 calls there. If you want to call us next week, the link will be in the show description. How do you feel about being called McDonald's boy, by the way?
Call me whatever you want. I don't care. Could be worse. We'll go to listener questions. Got Goats asking, do you think Chow Wolf can end up better than V Sustina by this year? I think overall, no. I think Chow Wolf can get a couple wins, maybe over V Sustina, but I don't think we'll ever consider Chow Wolf a better horse than V Sustina.
Agreed. V Sustina's, showed her class too many times in her limited starts in Australia. Like, she's by far and away, she's the best horse in the country. Daylight next. I think Chow Wolf will only be running for second. He might get the leg up on her a couple of times, but you just can't consider him a better horse until he maybe beats her in a Cox Plate.
Yep. Judd Taylor, possible Pride of Jenny return.
I've been hearing that, actually. I've been hearing rumbles. That
as well as Alligator Blood.
So Alligator Blood has been transferred to Chris Waller. Chris Waller's now going to train Alligator Blood, and they're going to try and get him back to the races.
That's huge.
Huge, but what sort of horse is he going to be after 2 years off? We don't know until he runs, I guess, and we'll comment on that a bit more once he gets back, if he does get back to the races. The Pride of Jenny one is the interesting thing. Because she was retired really not at a time that fit in with a breeding calendar, and I believe they wanted to send her to Equinox in Japan, and that fell through. So since her breeding fell through, they're thinking of sending her around for another year to keep her in that racing window before trying again to send her off to breed. Do I agree with it? No, considering how much that horse got ran into the ground at the end. But, I mean, be good for racing if she's able to get back to her best. Do I think she will? No, but what are your thoughts?
Do I think it's a good idea? Probably not. You can probably still snag some more prize money if you want to look at it that way. Don't know if she'll win another race, but she'll definitely place. So it's up to them, I guess. Trainers are done. They probably, I think considering they should have already retired it, they don't lose anything by bringing it back. The legacy's kind of already
ruined.
Probably not ruined, but like not as good if it retired when she should have. So I don't think she loses much by staying until end of her breeders. I don't think it's that outrageous, but anyway.
Fair enough.
Hayden Miles, tell me that you agree that Tonkin is a weapon and will be the next best thing. It started pretty good down in Melbourne. I think I saw a win or two down there, but you never know, man. It's early days. Is it 2-year-old? No, it's a 3-year-old.
3-year-old. Look, great horse, great runs, but who have they beaten? It was a maiden and a benchmark 64. That's not screaming best horse in the country, is it? We got to see if she can continue to rise through the ranks and get the job done on a bigger stage. But
won by 4.5 lengths last week.
Certainly looking like a promising horse. We'll see how she goes throughout the rest of the autumn and see if she gets a crack at Saturday grade. And then if she measures up there, see if she can get a crack at stakes grade, and then just continue seeing if she measures up. Got the potential, needs to perform now.
Yeah, fair enough.
Is that it?
That's it.
Alrighty. Okay, let's get into the tips, mate. That's what they all came for. Randwick on the weekend. The weather is fine now. It's very hot, very sunny in Sydney at the moment, but there is meant to have some rainfall on Saturday, but not too much to the point where it'll damage the track. So I would assume it'll be good for all day come Saturday. The rail's in the true position for the entire circuit. So racing will be as fair can be, mate. It's just a matter of finding the best horses on the day and, of course, monitoring any bias as it presents. But I don't think it will really have any, apart from maybe if the rail's red hot, because we're back in the true. We're going to start off with race 1, 1,600 metres, the benchmark 72 midway. I'll be straight to the point here. Ajita, shout out to you, Will Mitchell. Great price, $12 to win, $2.90. Last start, jumped way up in class and in distance. Honestly, wasn't disgraced behind the likes of Monarch's Brain Anchorage, who would give this field a spanking. Was also checked on the turn, able to pick herself up, close off well. Was also a sit and sprint type of race. Didn't really suit her. Her tempo is more, really building the gears and getting momentum around the turn. Drops back to midway class, gets better tempo, gets her pet distance. I think she only runs well. Ajita.
Fair enough. I'm going with Piraeus here, a horse that I've been unlucky with
been
in
relentless
past.
With this horse.
$4.80. I know it says that it probably hasn't had a break, but it had a little bit, just over 5 or 6 weeks off during December. Pretty much third up here. When a third up record, it's 4 starts and 4 in the placings with 1 win in there. So not too bad. 6 barrier. Zachy Lloyd can get it done. Not too bad for me in the first. As we move to race number 2 at the 1,200 meters, got the highway. We'll be going through this pretty quick. I'm not too sure, to be honest, but I'm going to go with a Pendor, Timmy Clark on $8, $2.50 dartboard here, fellas. So stick with whoever you want, but if I had to pick one, it'd be that.
Yeah, look, Creon for me, another one that I'm targeting because it's dropping back in grade, jumped way up to benchmark 78, and honestly, again, wasn't disgraced, finishing less than 3 lengths off a horse by the name of He's Done Hot 2, who was the $2.40 favourite in the last race on the card, Nick. So that's fantastic form for the highway, in my opinion. Just needs a clear run to the line. $9 to win, $2.90 for the big grey Creon to get the job done in the highway. Race 3, the 1,000 metre Lonhro Plate. The 2-year-olds, like we said earlier, very average, and it's a very average field here. Most of the 2-year-olds have been quite average, so anything can really win this. Extractor has the North England and West of Swindon form. Baywat, or I'm not sure how you say it, was a hype horse coming out of trials and then failed on debut. And then you have Bella Zane representing the 2-year-old Queen Gay Waterhouse as well. But you would think that she scratches here and goes to the English Millennium now that she's gained a start. It's an interesting one here. Also interesting to see that Anarchist has Tim Clark booked for Gay Waterhouse. So clearly that's the horse she's more confident in, or maybe she just did that because she was confident Bella Zane was going to get a start in the English Millennium. I'm going to go with, let's just say Baywat. That's how I'm going to say it. I think the trials were too good for this horse to be a complete failure. Was wide throughout last start, whereas gets the rails here and is able to get up on pace and hopefully lead throughout here. Looks the winner at the 200 in my opinion, and hopefully gets the job done. $4.80, Bay walked.
For me personally, the three horses that have come out that you spoke about just before, their form hasn't been standing out for me. Where I'm going to go with a debutant. Like I said, Timmy Clark and Gay Waterhouse are a big combo that they like to play with the 2-year-olds and do very, very well. It's going to be a narcist for me. $9.50, $2.50 for a place. Good price each way. Pretty nice. But yeah, 2 trial wins as well. It's unraced, so it's got that bigger price against those that have shown it. But like I said, those ones that have shown it haven't shown much enough to go for. So go with that. Race number 4. We've got the Inglis Benchmark 78 1600 meter here. It's a tough one to go through. Point and Shoot is your favorite. Bjorn Baker trained. Looks very, very good. Looks nice for that one. Punton is another one that I like. Unbeaten, 3 from 3, $3.60. But I'm going with bottom weight Cosmic Lad here. Going with a bit of value, $12, $3 for a place. Joe Pride trained last start behind Code in Time, following 3 lengths behind in the Benchmark 72. Bottom weight, going to have a good run here. Reece Jones on board.
Very nice. Point and Shoot is the name. Point and Shoot is the type of bet I'm going to have here. Bjorn is literally airborne. I don't know what he's doing differently, but he is by far and away the most informed trainer of the last 3 months. And this horse absolutely killed the competition last start. Jumps up in class and distance, but I think can get the job done still. I'm thinking Quinella, Point and Shoot with the stablemate Punton, and then for a trifecta, maybe chuck Depth of Character in because of that 3-year-old Guineas form up in the Magic Millions. But yeah, I just think Point and Shoot gets it done here. As we move on to race 5, 1,300 meter Benchmark 78. Tough race here, punters. You either have a few horses who have been up forever and will be fit as a fiddle and ready to, have the runs on the board, whereas you'll have some that are resuming. They'll have the class edge, but will they have the fitness edge? No. So you got to find that perfect medium between the two. I eventually settled on going for class, and I think the favourite has that severe lack of pace in the race. So it could simply be Clark just taking him to the front, playing catch me if you can, and then no one can catch him. Not a big bet at all, if I'm even going to be betting on this race, but it's a knockout at $4 on top for me in race 5.
Going with Dark Glitter here, $14, $3.75. Molly Burke on board, claims 2 kilos, brings it down to 52. Just missing out just a little bit here in the last couple of races. 4th place being the worst of the last, 6 or 7 races it's run in. I know the class is probably a bit hard for it, but I reckon it's a good chance. It should be there or thereabouts. Definitely an each way chance. I'd go each way for sure. So that'll be for me. As we go to race number 6, Benchmark 94, $1,000 meter race. Straight to the point. She's an A-lister for me, $6, just out of the each way, but looking very nice. Like you said, Bjorn's on fire. First up here should be very, very nice. Very good first up record. 4 runs, 3 wins, 1 second place.
I'm a big supporter of the Black Cloud. Rose through the ranks really strongly last winter. Gave me massive think about it vibes. Then had a crack at stakes racing in the spring and didn't quite measure up. So maybe this is her ceiling. But I think Benchmark 94 is much more suitable class. Finds herself with just 52 kilos on the back as well. Does her best work when fresh. Hopefully finds the front late at $4.80. Black Cloud for me. We skip race 7. That's in the tip-off. Mate, send us to race 8.
Race number 8 here. It's going to be my first favourite of the day, I think. Gatsby's, $2.80. I think just been the best horse that has just been missing out lately. So J-Mac on, first up, 2 from 2. Going to be there again. It's just been a bit unlucky with the horses fallen behind, but I reckon it's the best horse in this race. I reckon Waller really does well with the 3-year-olds coming through, and Gatsby coming into a 3-year-old year here will be better than Mayfair, who is the next best chance with Waterhouse, who usually peaks at the 2-year-old and they usually fall off. So we'll wait and see, but I think Gatsby's for me.
Look, I was going to be on Gatsby's. I'm a big Gatsby's guy. I did have multiple futures bets on him, neither of which came off as he tailed off there in the spring after an amazing first up run, but was no slouch in the Cornwall by any means. But linebacker fresh off a gelding. I know this is well short of his best distance, But boy, oh boy, did he have big nuts. He's chopped them off now. So I think he only runs well. Would be surprised to see him out of the finish, because if he is really out of the finish, surely he's just a squib, plain and simple, and I'll be jumping off him at all costs. But at $4.20, fresh off a gelding, considering the ability he showed when those nuts were on, I think now that they're off, he can be sharp enough to get up at 1,200 metres. So linebacker for me.
Fair enough.
Move to race 9, the 1,600 metre open handicap. 2 bets for me in this one, punters. One being the favourite, Headley Grange. I think he's too good a form to be running poorly here. He should be around the mark again, and he's absolutely carrying no weight whatsoever. The other is a cheeky $5 each way on kinesiology. Okay, I invested in this horse very, very heavily in its first up start in the spring, because he was touted as well as next Melbourne Cup horse. He was meant to be an absolute world beater. He was not on the day. But second prep in Australia, had more time to acclimatise to the conditions, Waller's been able to see a lot more of him instead of being fresh off the plane, going straight to the races. So hopefully he can be getting up and about here and getting the job done. 1,600 metres obviously is going to be short of his best distance. He's also double nominated down in Melbourne, so you'll see him appear in both quaddies later. So one of those quaddies is going to have to be altered when the scratching comes in. But at $26 to win, $5.50 to place, couldn't possibly let him go around without something on. So Headley Grange and kinesiology for me. Race 10, mate, what are your thoughts?
I've got to give my race 9 tip.
Oh my God, you do too. My bad.
St. Lawrence for me, $12, $3.10. It's had a bit of a rest. It's coming off. It's only had one race in the last probably like 4 or 5 weeks, so it's coming in pretty fresh. So should be nice. It's fallen behind Waterford and Robusto, who were running pretty well over in Wyong, and then before that behind Private Eye and Robusto again. So coming over here, probably a bit of a weaker field. But yeah, I still reckon it's pretty fresh into its prep, where it's pretty good. First up, it's 3 wins from 4 and 1 in the minor placings, and then second up, it's 2 wins from 3. So it's usually, I think it's playing more of a first or second up kind of run. I know it probably doesn't seem like it, but I think it'll play as that because it hasn't actually been racing that much. So St. Lawrence for me, race number 9. I know you didn't want me to give that one, mate, but
sorry about that.
Had to sneak in. And last of the day, race number 10, 1,200 meters, benchmark 78. Going Winston Hills, $13, $3.40. It was pretty nice on Saturday last week, I think. Was it last week or the week before? I'm not too sure.
2 weeks ago, I believe he comes through the race that a lot of these come through when Tommy Berry had his fall.
Yeah. Didn't mention that either. Should have said, shout out to Tommy Berry. Hope he's all right.
Yes, hope he's recovering. Apparently he'll make a full recovery, which is good.
That's awesome. But yeah, Winston Hills looking pretty good. Won first up and then getting a bit unlucky in the last couple of races. Like I said, 2 weeks back was pretty nice. So ran on nicely for fourth. $13, $3.40. That'll be mine in the last.
I'm going to be nice and boring. Favourite for me. He's done hot too. Bjorn, 2 in form, not to back him in here. And the horse has been building to a win this prep with 2 second placings quite narrowly. So hopefully he can get the job done here. Okay, that concludes our first rundown of the autumn. We now head to the Great Tip-Off. We've got 2 races to contest. The Great Autumn Tip-Off, obviously, I run the spring. I believe you won autumn last year. So you're looking for 2. Yeah, because you were going for 3 straight tip-offs, and I was able to stop you from that. But you're looking for 2 straight autumns. Haven't set the punishment this time, guys, but one thing's for sure, it won't be eating related. We're going to stick away from eating related challenges for a while because it did a lot of damage on Nick's body, and I don't think my body would be able to hold up considering the health issues I've had. That's all I need to say. But
fair enough. Well, we'll talk about it. If you guys have any ideas, we might put a poll up or something and you can comment it. But who knows? We'll wait and see. So we'll get straight into it, mate. Tip off. English Millennium to start.
Let's start with that. Then we'll leave the CF4 stakes for last. So 1,100 metre English Millennium at Randwick, race 7. 2-year-olds, of course. We had the Magic Millions a few weeks back. Those are for horses that have been sold at the Magic Million sales. These are for horses that have been sold at the English sales. Look, not an amazing field, but it never really is because the Golden Slipper winner doesn't usually come out of the English Millennium. We saw last year Fully Lit, who didn't really do much in the end. And then the year before that, I believe it was I always forget the horse's name because I go to say Lost and Running, but it's not Lost and Running. because it went in. Learning to Fly was the winner the year before, and it went in as the big hype horse. Probably could have run the lights out in the Golden Slipper, but ended up being very naughty in the barriers, threw the jockey off, and then we all know what happened then. So, look, try and find your winner here. If you really love it, put some money on for the Slipper, but history tells us the Slipper winner isn't coming out of this race. What are your thoughts?
Tough one. Bit of a dartboard here. You can watch it how you want. I'm going with Bella Zane. Timmy Clark, Gay Waterhouse. I'll talk about that combo with 2-year-olds. $8.50 is a good price for me to have. $2.60 each way. It's just good to see a bit of better racing coming back, but we're not fully there yet where we get a lot better horses. So Bella Zane for me. First up wasn't too bad. Bella Mercy in that race was absolutely insane. So 3 lengths behind that is good enough for me. And yeah, it's going to be that for me.
Well, yeah, you have to consider the Jim Crack form there. It stood up. It's basically one of the only 2-year-old form lines that have been good to follow. Belle Mercy, obviously, we haven't seen since. We're looking forward to seeing her come back. OLA won the Wyong Magic Millions, then won the actual Magic Millions. Memo has also come out and run exceptionally well. And then some others have put in some good efforts as well without, shooting the lights out. So certainly a good form line to follow there. When it comes to form lines, I'm following one as well that's a bit left field. I'm going for a roughie here. I may as well try and get an early lead out on you. Nice and early, mate, and let you try and run me down. I'm going Grafter Burners at $27 to win, $5.70 to place here. Why am I going this roughie, Nick? Simply put, he gave Blitzberg windburn last time he was at the races, and then Blitzberg, obviously we watched this live on Dabble, gave his competitors windburn last week at Rose Hill. So hopefully that's a nice form line to follow. It's like I said, it's very, chop and change with these 2-year-olds. Anything can happen. You've got to try and find a needle in a haystack when it comes to following form. Hopefully this is a really big needle in a very small haystack, and I've found a $27 winner to kick off the great autumn tip-off. So Grafter Burners in the Inglis Millennium for me, punters.
Fair enough.
All right, we head over to Caulfield, the CF4 Stakes, the race of the day by a country mile, because we've got some absolute A-grade horses here. Mr. Brightside, Southport Tycoon, Pinstripes to Party, Another Will, Freedom Rally, Schwartz, Samana, Super Smink, and Private Life. Multiple Group 1 winners here, all going head-to-head. What are your thoughts?
I don't know. It's I think Another Will at that price is a bit short for me. I think Brightside's probably deserved to be at that price. 1,400 meters is it a query? Probably not. I'm going to go to Party, $15, $3.30. It's just honestly been there or thereabouts for so many races. And if it gets up, I don't think anyone will be that surprised. And at that price, I think it's worth a bet. I'd probably play Another Will as well, but it's just a bit short for me to put a lot of money on it. I'd like it if it comes out to maybe $6, $7. I think that's a bit more appropriate, where I'd probably bet into it a bit heavier, but Party I will be having a play on, and it will be my tip for the tip-off.
Fair enough. I've got to be pretty simple here. Mr. Brightside, $2.50. You were getting Mr. Brightside for the same price that we got him in the spring to beat Pride of Jenny and Antino when he was first up in the spring. He's now first up in the autumn, and you're getting the same price to beat Another Will and Swartz, realistically, because I think those are the only real 2 horses that can beat him here. And Another Will and Swartz, great horses, but are they Pride of Jenny and Antino levels? Not really. Okay, we saw Mr. Brightside make easy work of those 2 in the spring under the same conditions until a horse named Pinstripe ran past him in the end. Could he do it again? I don't think so. But I think the price is a gift. Mr. Brightside at $2.50 in a much easier field, in a conditions that we've seen time and time again, always kicks off at the Caulfield 1,400 metres, and I think has gotten the job done just about every time apart from in the spring. So I just think you can't be against him. He's the country's most consistent horse over 1,400 to 1,600 metres. Let's go, Mr. Brightside. I'm with him all the way.
Fair enough.
All right, mate. That concludes the tip-off. Now we've just got to look at any bets we've had around the country other than Sydney and the 2 we've already touched on in the great tip-off.
There's not much for me. There's a race in Caulfield that I want to get on, the Blue Diamond Prelude, race number 4 at the 1100 meters. I think the favorite looks pretty good as an Aleppo Pine. Jamie Mellum on board, $2.60. Should be pretty nice. Other than that, I'm probably just going to watch and see how we go. Maybe even Ray Magnerio in race number 6 can be something to have a look at as well. Should be there and thereabouts. Always is.
Fair enough. I've got a few here. Let's just go through them now. Caulfield Race 3, Berkshire Breeze, $5.50. Was one of the local hype horses when it came to the Cup season last year. Didn't really eventuate into that, but I just think he is better than this field. Mark Zara on board, $5.50 to win, $2 to place each way. Race 5, My Gladiola in one of those previews, the female version. If it goes below $2, won't be touching it, but I do think it wins. So I'll have it on top. But like I said, betting wise, if it's over $2, bet. If it's not, stay away. You don't want to be betting on a $1.92-year-old. Caulfield Race 6, Mahaba at $4. Only got beaten by top class horses in the spring, and then comes back to B graders, in my opinion. So $3.80 is a price I can definitely entertain for Mahaba there. And then Caulfield Race 7, Evaporate at $3.60. Obviously, was one of the boom 3-year-olds last spring. Was in the Cox Plate. Obviously, got nowhere near it. Wasn't as quite good, but was still good in the 3-year-old class. Gets that here. I think will only run well with Mark Zara on board as well. And then I'll also have a cheeky $5 each way on Kinesiology if he does indeed run in Melbourne.
Awesome. We'll take you to the Quaddie at Randwick. Race 7, price tag, Grafter Burners, Bellazine. Within the law, that's 4, 9, 12, 17. Race 8, Linebacker, Gatsby's, Mayfair, Snow in May. That's 1, 2, 3, 10. Race 9, Headley Grange, Kinesiology, St. Lawrence, and Wymark. That's 5, 8, 11, 14. Race number 10, you got He's done hot too. He's done hot too. Romeo's Choice, Winston Hills, and Morjude. That's 8, 10, 13, 16. Numbers again, race 7, you got 4, 9, 12, 17. Race 8, 1, 2, 3, 10. Race 9, 5, 8, 11, 14. Race 10, 8, 10, 13, 16.
$50 will get you 19.5% as always, and you can copy them on Dabble now. They have quaddies, so head to Dabble, download the app, use the code MOCKSPORTS when signing up to let them know we sent you. Gamble responsibly and set a deposit limit. Think about what you could be buying instead when doing so, but especially if it changes on the day, just head to our Dabble account and press copy. It's as simple as that. For Caulfield, we've got one as well. Race 7, we've got Evaporate, Angel Capital, Plymouth, Jenny the Fox. That's 1, 2, 8, 9. Race 8, we've got Charlton Lane, Kinesiology, Warmonger, Duke de Sessa, 1, 2, 4, 8. Race 9, Mr. Brightside, Another Will, Swartz, and Steparty, 1, 4, 5, 7. Race 10, Arabian Summer, Kirribilli, Drifting, Certain Rise, 1, 3, 4, 13. Again, race 7, 1, 2, 8, 9. Race 8, 1, 2, 4, 8. Race 9, 1, 4, 5, 7. Race 10, 1, 3, 4, 13. And $50 will get you 19.5%. Nick, you've been the man that's been hitting quite a few best bets throughout the summer. I couldn't hit water if I fell out of a boat. I just could not find one to save myself. I'm hoping to kick off autumn with a win here on a horse I'm quite confident on. But if you're going to have one bet around the country to keep your momentum going, what's it going to be?
It's going to be Gatsby's, $2.80. Race number 8 at Randwick. It's going to be the best, I think. J-Mac and Waller, like I said, I spoke about it pretty much word for word of what I like. So Gatsby's for me will be the best of the day.
Fair enough. I am just siding with Mr. Brightside. Like I said, he is the best horse in the country, 1,400 metre to 1,600 metre. His form above that, very questionable. We've questioned it many times, but he's in his sweet spot here. He's at his sweet spot conditions of the Caulfield 1,400 first up. Dry deck it should be as well, unless rain that isn't forecast comes down. Mr. Brightside, 250. But he can get it done in the wet anyways. So, yeah, I'm very confident in him. Mr. Brightside is the best bet around the country.
Awesome.
All right, mate. Anything else to say to the punters before we go?
Best of luck. Check out Dabble. Obviously, that's our big thing. We're doing some streams on there, so you can catch us every couple of Saturdays. It's not really sure how often, but probably every 3 or 4 weeks, I assume. We did one on Saturday. We had a pretty good time, so get on there. Thanks for listening. Hopefully we get everyone back from spring because we had heaps of you. Buy the hats. Other than that,
themocksports.com.au if you want to buy a hat. And then we'll see you back here next week.
Cheers, guys.